Jeff Chandler, one of Hollywood's greatest film icons of the mid-20th century, stirred box offices and hearts with his striking good looks, prematurely graying hair, and resonant baritone voice. One of Universal Pictures' most popular male stars of the 1950s, he was admired for his powerful demeanor and versatile performances, most notably his portrayal of Apache Chief Cochise in Broken Arrow, 1950, which earned him a prestigious Oscar nomination. He created a masculine, resilient image and was deeply loved by the public. However, tragedy struck unexpectedly in 1961. At the age of 42, at the height of his career, Jeff Chandler died suddenly after what seemed like a routine medical procedure for a herniated disc. The official story of his death was released as complications from sepsis and pneumonia. What makes the mystery behind this death so poignant, beyond the usual explanation of surgical complications? Was the beloved star really killed by an unfortunate sports injury and a random medical incident? Or is there something deeper hidden in the glamorous but also dark life of a star, related to physical exhaustion, the pressure of fame, and a systematic cover-up? Let's find out the exact truth about this fateful event, peeling back the layers of tragedy to better understand the talented but ill-fated artist, whose death exposed the dark side of both the Hollywood industry and the medical system at that time. Jeff Chandler was born Ira Grossell on December 15, 1918, in Brooklyn, New York. He was the only son of Jewish parents Anna, née Herman, and Philip Grossell. His parents separated when he was young, and he was raised by his mother. As a young man, Chandler attended Erasmus Hall High School, where he participated in school plays. Although his father worked in the restaurant industry and found him a job as a cashier, Chandler always yearned for acting. He initially studied commercial art because it was cheaper, working as a layout artist for a mail-order catalog for $18 a week. Eventually, Chandler saved enough money to take a drama course at the Fegan School of Dramatic Arts in New York. He worked in theater companies for 2 years, including founding his own company, Shady Lane Playhouse in Illinois, in the summer of 1941. When the United States entered World War II, Chandler enlisted in the Army and served 4 years, mainly in the Aleutian Islands, finishing with the rank of lieutenant. His time in the military instilled discipline and commitment, qualities that would later shape his acting style. After being discharged in December 1945, Chandler moved to Los Angeles with $3,000 in savings. Shortly after arriving, he was involved in a serious car accident on his way to an audition, resulting in a large scar on his forehead. Although he struggled initially, he quickly found work as a radio actor in May 1946 after spending all his savings. He became known for his distinctive voice in shows such as Michael Shane, and especially for his role as Eve Arden's love interest in Our Miss Brooks, which premiered in July 1948 and became a huge hit. His radio success brought Chandler to the attention of executives at Universal, who were looking for an actor to play an Israeli leader in Sword in the Desert, 1949. His strong impression led Universal to sign him to a 7-year contract during filming. Chandler's biggest break in his career came when he was loaned from Universal to Fox to play Cochise in Broken Arrow, 1950. The role was not easy to cast. Chandler himself remarked that Fox needed someone physically large and unfamiliar enough to the movie audience to make it authentic. Broken Arrow was a huge success, earning Chandler an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. This was a remarkable achievement, as he was the first actor to be nominated for an Oscar for playing a Native American. His portrayal of Cochise was described as humane and dignified, marking a turning point in Hollywood's portrayal of Native American characters. After Broken Arrow, Chandler was promoted to leading man status by Universal. He was praised for his tight, unusually bony face, which seemed to fit neatly into any type of role. Hollywood often cast him in roles of various nationalities: a gangster in Deported, 1950, a Union soldier in Two Flags West, 1950, a Polynesian chief in Bird of Paradise, 1951, and an Arab chief in Flame of Araby, 1951. He even played Emperor Marcian in The Epic Sign of the Pagan, 1954. He played Cochise twice more, in The Battle at Apache Pass, 1952, and in an uncredited cameo in Taza, Son of Cochise, 1954. Despite his popularity as a film star, ranking 22nd in the U.S. in 1952 and 5th in the UK in 1956, Chandler expressed his dissatisfaction with film acting, finding it less satisfying than radio, because the actor was only a small part of the show. He expressed a desire to move into writing and directing. In parallel with film, Chandler maintained a singing and recording career. He released several albums of ballads and romantic songs. And although some critics, such as Rose Marie, said he was not a very good singer, he still showed a softer side, in contrast to his more edgy screen personas. In late 1955, Chandler formed his own production company, Earlmar, with the intention of gaining greater creative control. The company signed a 6-picture contract with United Artists. Chandler both starred in and produced Earlmar's first film, Drango, 1957. He also wrote and storyboarded many of the projects, reflecting his aspirations to be an executive or idea man. Jeff Chandler's personal life was marked by the conflict between fame and family life. He married actress Marjorie Hoschel in 1946. They had 2 daughters, Jamie Tucker, born 1947, and Dana Grossell, born 1949. The family seemed a glamorous and happy Hollywood couple in their early years. However, the marriage was fraught with tension and separation. They first separated in 1951, and then in 1954, Marjorie filed for divorce. In her divorce papers, she complained that Chandler suffered from chronic exhaustion to the point where he would fall asleep whenever we were there. This clearly reflected the tremendous workload he was under his Universal contract. He was constantly on the go, filming, recording, and answering fan mail. Although they reconciled in March 1955, the marriage ended. In 1957, while filming Raw Wind in Eden, Chandler had an affair with actress Esther Williams. Marjorie Hoschel filed for divorce for the final time later that year. In his 1958 divorce, Chandler disclosed his substantial income, earning $250,000 in 1957 from acting and singing. However, he also incurred significant expenses, with 25% of his income deducted for his personal manager, business manager, and agent. The divorce was granted in June 1959. Marjorie said that Chandler was so absorbed in his career that he spent all his non-filming time at the business office, causing her to develop stomach ulcers. In addition, Chandler was involved in other relationships, including with Gloria DeHaven, exposed by the tabloid Confidential, and actress Ann Sheridan. This connection suggests that, behind the spotlight, Chandler's personal life was filled with turmoil, pressure, and intense media scrutiny. Ironically, just as Jeff Chandler seemed to be finding stability in his career by moving into freelance work and production, tragedy struck. In April 1961, while filming his last film, Merrill's Marauders in the Philippines, Chandler injured his back playing baseball with U.S. Army Special Forces soldiers. In order to continue shooting, he had to be injected with painkillers to numb the pain. On May 13, 1961, he was hospitalized in Culver City, California, for surgery on a herniated disc. This seemingly simple operation led to serious complications. A vein was damaged, causing a hemorrhage that required further emergency surgeries. He received a massive blood transfusion, 55 pints in the second operation and 20 pints in the third. Chandler died on June 17, 1961, at the age of 42. The official cause of death was septicemia complicated by pneumonia. The sudden death of a well-known and respected man, especially after a seemingly simple procedure, immediately aroused suspicion. Friends, colleagues, and even his ex-wife began to question how a seemingly healthy man could have deteriorated so quickly under the care of a prestigious hospital. Rumors of botched procedures, overlooked allergies, and staff negligence began to circulate. Adding to the public tragedy was a shocking personal allegation. In 1999, actress Esther Williams announced in her autobiography that their relationship ended after Chandler proposed because he confessed to being a cross-dresser. The statement caused great controversy, challenging the masculine, rugged image he had built on screen. Many friends and colleagues, including Jane Russell, have publicly refuted this claim, insisting that Chandler was a completely masculine man. Although dismissed, this detail adds a layer of mystery and intimate personal tragedy to his legacy, suggesting a grim contrast between his public image and the secrets he may have hidden. In 1961, an inquest was held into Chandler's death, and it was determined that he died from medical malpractice. This sheds more light on the true nature of the tragedy, far beyond the general explanation of complications. Newer revelations, through declassified court documents and hospital archives, according to information from researchers and investigative journalists, have exposed a much darker truth. During emergency surgery after the initial operation, as doctors attempted to control the bleeding, Chandler was injected with a drug to which he had a documented allergy, a penicillin-based drug. Lax post-operative monitoring, combined with a disregard for his allergy records, led to a severe anaphylactic reaction and seizures, which rapidly deteriorated him. Rather than admit to this serious error, the hospital reportedly sought to cover up the information, fearing legal repercussions and public outrage. For studios like Universal Pictures, preserving Hollywood's golden age image was paramount. Negative news of medical negligence and institutional failure could tarnish a top star's legacy. This silence surrounded the incident for years. It wasn't until Chandler's daughter, Jamie Tucker, fought to gain access to her father's sealed medical records that the truth about the omission of vital medical protocols was confirmed by a court order. Testimony from inside sources revealed the panic in the operating room after Chandler suffered an anaphylactic seizure. This medical malpractice death led Chandler's daughter to file a $1.5 million lawsuit against the hospital and the doctors involved. The lawsuit was later settled for $258. While the parties agreed that no error was publicly admitted by the hospital or doctors in the joint statement, the truth revealed during the investigation raised serious questions about medical ethics and responsibility. The truth about negligence and cover-up completely changed Jeff Chandler's legacy. He was not just a star who died prematurely, but also a victim of systemic failure. His story becomes a heartbreaking reminder of how even the most powerful individuals can be smothered by negligence, silence, and systemic failure. Jeff Chandler's death was a double tragedy. A man was exhausted by the pressures of the entertainment industry and then killed by medical negligence, followed by an attempted cover-up to protect the reputation of the organization. The true nature of the incident was a grim combination of overlooked personal frailty and unchecked systemic failure. Jeff Chandler's tragedy was not simply a medical accident, but a product of the combined social pressures and toxic culture of 1950s celebrity. Chandler openly expressed his dissatisfaction with his role as a film actor and his desire to move into executive work. He complained of not being able to live as a normal person and having to deal with unrealistic public expectations. This stress led to a state of chronic fatigue. The culture of Universal Pictures, where he was forced to work continuously under contract, 2 films a year, pushed him to the limit of his endurance. His intense focus on work, which led to his ex-wife developing a stomach ulcer, suggests that he sacrificed his mental and physical health for the sake of the spotlight. This exhaustion may have weakened his immune system and his ability to heal, leaving him more vulnerable to medical complications. The most immediate cause was negligence on the part of his medical team. A hospital ignoring a patient's documented allergy history was a serious lapse in care. The surgery not only caused massive bleeding, but also ended with the use of toxic drugs, turning a routine operation into a fatal trip. The dark truth lies in the intentional cover-up that followed the incident. The hospital, and possibly the studio's attempt to cover up the medical error, has devastated the Chandler family and perpetuated the mystery for decades. It reveals a painful truth about the nature of powerful institutions that put profit and reputation above transparency and human life. The revelation of the truth about medical errors and cover-ups is far more tragic than the public ever knew, as it undermines the glamorous image of Hollywood, where even major stars cannot afford basic medical care or be protected from negligence. Chandler's tragedy challenges our belief in fairness and truth, and reveals the harsh truth that fame does not protect us from systemic errors. In this tragedy, the most obvious blame lies with individuals in the medical system who overlooked important allergy information and basic surgical procedures. However, it must be recognized that Chandler was also a victim of the industry that created him. Universal Pictures, through harsh contract terms, pushed him into a state of physical exhaustion. When he sought relief, he was suspended, demonstrating the studio's draconian control over the personal life and health of its stars. Jeff Chandler was not a completely passive victim. He attempted to regain control by starting his own production company. But ultimately, he was unable to escape the exhausting cycle of fame and financial pressure. His tragedy was thus the result of a vicious cycle. Work pressure led to burnout led to the need for surgery, and medical negligence exploited that vulnerability, all wrapped up in a culture of concealment in the entertainment and medical industries. Jeff Chandler's tragedy offers profound lessons about the mental and physical health of celebrities. His lament about not being worth it should be seen as a warning about the invisible burden that fame places on people. Prioritizing health. This story is a reminder that no amount of success or fame can compensate for neglecting health, especially when fatigue becomes chronic. Accountability in healthcare. Exposing the cover-up highlights the importance of accountability in healthcare, especially for avoidable errors. The complexity of truth. The truth about Chandler's death and the speculation about his personal life, such as the cross-dresser allegations, which have been denied, shows the complexity of finding personal truth in a world dominated by carefully crafted public images. Chandler's story reflects a widespread social problem, the indifference of powerful systems, studios, hospitals, to the life and well-being of individuals in the face of economic gain or fame. His legacy, portrayed as heroic on screen, is now seen through the prism of personal tragedy, forcing us to reconsider our definition of success and the price of fame. The life of Jeff Chandler is a story of stark contrasts. A celebrated actor who reached the heights of international fame, Oscar nomination, box office stardom, but who suffered a quiet burnout and ultimately died tragically at the age of 42. His death was not a simple tragedy, but the result of a combination of inhumane professional pressures and a medical cover-up. Thanks to the persistence of his family, the mystery was finally solved, revealing a bitter truth about systematic negligence and silence. Jeff Chandler's legacy lives on not only through his role as Cochise or his romantic ballads, but also through his cautionary tale of human fragility in the face of institutional indifference. What questions does the hidden truth about Chandler's death raise about our trust in powerful institutions, medicine, media, and cinema, and the extent to which we accept a lack of transparency as an inevitable part of this world?